The massive space station hung in orbit like a jewel against the darkness, stood at the viewing window of the shuttle, watching it grow larger as they approached. His heart beat steadily in his chest, calm despite the importance of this moment. 30 years. That's how long humanity had worked toward this day. "Ambassador, we're about to dock," said Park from behind him. She was his security chief, a sharp woman with quick eyes that missed nothing. Her hand rested near her sidearm, a habit she couldn't break even here. Turned to look at his small team. Besides, there was Min, a quiet scientist who had helped design Earth's first jump drive. Just 3 humans, representing 8 billion people back home. 3 humans who would stand before 47 alien civilizations and ask for a seat at the table. "Remember," said softly, "we're here as friends. Show respect, show strength, but most of all show them we belong here." The shuttle docked with a gentle thump. The airlock opened with a hiss, and they stepped into a corridor filled with beings from across the galaxy. Tall ones, short ones, some with scales and others with fur. Some walked on 2 legs, others floated in containment suits. The air smelled strange, a mix of 100 different atmospheres filtered and blended. A reptilian creature approached them. Its skin was dark green and covered in small plates. Cold yellow eyes studied the humans without warmth. "I am leader of the Galactic Council. You are the human representatives." "Yes," said, bowing slightly. "I am ambassador. Thank you for receiving us." Didn't return the bow. "Follow me. The council is waiting." They walked through corridors that seemed designed to make visitors feel small. The ceiling stretched high above, and the walls displayed images of the council's greatest achievements. Ancient wars ended, peace treaties signed, technologies shared. Felt a flicker of hope. This was what humanity wanted, to be part of something greater. The council chamber was enormous. 47 seats arranged in a circle, each occupied by an alien representative. The humans were led to the center, where they stood alone under bright lights. Could feel thousands of eyes on him, though he couldn't see past the glare. "Humans of Earth's voice boomed through speakers. You have petitioned this council for membership. You have waited 30 years for this answer. Today we vote." His hands trembled slightly. He clasped them behind his back. Beside him stood perfectly still, but he could sense her tension. Min adjusted his glasses, a nervous gesture. "Let the vote begin," announced. Lights appeared above each seat. Red or green, deny or accept. Watched as the lights flickered on one by one. Red, red, red. His stomach tightened. More reds appeared, then a green, then more reds. The pattern became clear quickly. When the final light appeared, the result was overwhelming. 43 red, 4 green. "Rejected." Felt the disappointment like a physical weight, but he kept his face neutral. "I see. We respect the council's decision. May I ask what we can do to improve our application for the future?" Stood from his seat. The chamber fell silent. "There will be no future application." "I don't understand," said carefully. "The council has reviewed humanity's history. Your wars, your violence, your rapid expansion into space. You are dangerous, unpredictable. You adapt too quickly. You learn too fast. The council has determined that humanity poses a contamination risk to galactic civilization." "A contamination risk." His voice remained steady, but alarm bells rang in his mind. Those are strong words for people seeking only friendship. "The council has voted on more than just your membership," continued. "We have voted on how to handle the human problem." His hand moved toward her weapon, but she froze as armed guards appeared from doorways around the chamber. Dozens of them, weapons raised and aimed at the 3 humans. "What is the meaning of this?" demanded, his diplomatic mask finally cracking. "You are a demonstration," said coldly. "Other species must see what happens to those who threaten the council's peace. Your deaths will be broadcast across all council space, a warning to any who might follow your path of aggression." "We came in peace," Min shouted, his voice breaking. We're scientists, diplomats. You are humans, replied. That is enough. Drew her weapon in one fluid motion, firing at the nearest guard. The shot hit, but more guards rushed forward. She managed to drop 3 more before an energy blast caught her in the chest. She fell without a sound. No, rushed to her side, but guards seized him, dragging him back. Min tried to run but got only a few steps before weapons fire cut him down. Struggled against the hands holding him, but it was useless. He was forced to his knees in the center of the chamber. All around him, alien faces watched without emotion. Some seemed satisfied. Others appeared uncomfortable but said nothing. Ambassador of Earth pronounced, "You are found guilty of representing a dangerous species. The sentence is death. Let this message reach your people. Let them know their place. Let them understand that the galaxy has spoken." Stop struggling. He looked up with steady eyes. "You're making a mistake. We wanted peace. We would have been your allies. But if this is how you treat those who seek friendship, then may whatever gods you worship have mercy on you, because my people won't." "Empty threats from a dead man," said. The energy blast was bright and quick. Fell forward, his body hitting the cold floor of the council chamber. The last thing he saw was the light above, still shining down on where he had stood just moments before, hopeful and alive. The broadcast went out immediately, carried on channels that reached across 3 galactic arms. On Earth, in homes and offices, in military bases and government buildings, billions of humans watched their ambassador die. They watched fall defending him. They watched Min cut down as he tried to flee. In a military command center deep beneath Earth's surface, Admiral Jin Woo stood with his staff, watching the screen in silence. His face was carved from stone, showing nothing, but his hands, clasped behind his back, were white-knuckled and shaking. In the presidential office, sat alone, watching the replay for the 3rd time. Tears had dried on her cheeks. Now there was only a cold, hard expression that her closest advisors had never seen before. Around Earth, the reaction was the same. No panic, no riots, no public outcry. Instead, something far more dangerous settled over humanity. A quiet, focused rage that burned cold rather than hot. A collective decision that needed no discussion, no vote, no debate. The galaxy had spoken. It had called humanity dangerous, a contamination, a threat. Very well. Humanity would show them exactly how right they were. The morning after the execution, Earth's cities were eerily quiet. People went to work. Children went to school. Life continued as if nothing had changed. But those who looked closely could see the difference in people's eyes. Something hard had settled there, something that hadn't existed before. Admiral Jin Woo called the meeting for midnight. He didn't use official channels or government networks. Instead, carefully encrypted messages went out to specific people: military leaders, scientists, intelligence chiefs, people who understood that everything had changed. They gathered in a facility that officially didn't exist, buried 3 kilometers beneath the mountains of Colorado. The conference room had no windows, no decorations, nothing but a long table and chairs. 20 people sat down, and not one of them looked like they'd slept. President entered last. Her face was calm, but her eyes held that same hard quality that now marked so many humans. She sat at the head of the table and spoke without preamble. "They killed our ambassador. They killed our people who went in peace. They broadcast it as a warning to keep us in our place." She paused, looking at each person in turn. "The question now is simple. What do we do about it?" "We have to respond," said General Minyu, head of Earth's ground forces. "If we don't, they'll think we're weak. They'll think they can do this again." "Oh, we'll respond," Jinwoo said quietly. "But not the way they expect. They think we're primitives with stolen technology. They think we got lucky finding the jump drive. They have no idea what we're actually capable of." He gestured, and a holographic display appeared above the table. It showed schematics, weapons designs, ship blueprints. Things that had been classified above top secret, known only to a handful of people. For the past 30 years, Jinwoo continued, while we've been playing nice and asking for permission to join their little club, our scientists haven't been idle. We've been preparing for the possibility that the galaxy might not want us. Dr. Han stood up. She was a small woman with hair and tired eyes, but when she spoke, everyone listened. We've been reverse engineering every piece of alien technology we could get our hands on, and we didn't just copy it. We improved it, made it better, made it deadlier. The hologram changed, showing a warship unlike anything the Council had seen. This is the Wraith-class stealth ship, Han explained. It's invisible to every sensor system the Council uses. We've tested it against captured alien technology. They literally cannot see us coming. How many do we have? Asked. 300 operational. Another 500 in construction. They'll be ready in 4 months. The hologram shifted again, showing a missile with a strange, twisted design. Singularity missiles. When they detonate, they create a temporary black hole. It lasts only a fraction of a second, but that's enough to tear apart everything within 5 kilometers. Ships, stations, planets if we hit them right. Planets, General Minyu looked shocked. You're talking about weapons that can destroy entire worlds, yes, Han said flatly. They showed us what they think of diplomacy. We're showing them what we think of their arrogance. Jinwoo brought up more designs. Quantum shredders that dismantle matter at the atomic level. Neural hacking systems that can take control of alien computers and defense grids. Biological weapons tailored to specific alien physiologies. We've been busy. This is genocide, someone said quietly. It was Minister One of the civilian advisors. What you're describing, it's the complete destruction of entire species. They started this, Jinwoo replied coldly. They made the rules when they executed our ambassador. We're just playing by them. Stood up. I need everyone to understand something. We're past the point of half measures. The Council has made it clear they see us as a contamination, a threat, something to be eliminated. If we respond weakly, they'll finish what they started. They'll come to Earth and do to all of us what they did too. She looked around the table. I'm not willing to let that happen, are you? Silence. Then one by one heads shook. No, they weren't willing to let humanity be erased. Then we move forward, said. We show them that they were right to fear us. We show them that humanity doesn't just fight back. We erase them first. Over the next weeks, Earth transformed. Factories that had made civilian goods retooled for weapons production. Shipyards that built cargo vessels now constructed warships. Research stations that studied peaceful technologies turned their focus to better ways of killing. But it was all done quietly. No announcements, no public declarations. The galaxy watched Earth and saw a species that had gone silent, presumably accepting their fate. The Council relaxed, satisfied that the human problem had been solved. They had no idea what was coming. Jinwoo stood in the command center of the newly completed warship Final Judgment. It was the flagship of Earth's fleet, bristling with weapons that the Council didn't even have names for. Around it, hundreds of other ships prepared for deployment. Commander approached him. She was young but brilliant, one of the best cyber warfare specialists humanity had ever produced. Admiral, we've successfully infiltrated the network. We have access to their defense systems across 12 systems. Can you shut them down remotely? Yes, sir. When you give the order, they'll be completely defenseless. Jinwoo nodded slowly. The worst species. They had led the vote to execute. They would be the first to pay. What about he asked. Captain has his strike team ready. They're in position near the 9 mining colony. Provided the guards who actually pulled the triggers wants them badly. He'll get his chance soon enough. Han entered the command center. Admiral, final weapon systems check is complete, Everything is operational. We're ready." "How long until we're at full strength?" Jinwoo asked. "3 more months, but we're strong enough now to begin operations." Jinwoo turned to look at the display showing Earth, his home. Billions of people who had done nothing wrong except try to reach out to the stars. And they had been slapped down, humiliated, their best people murdered in front of the galaxy. "Send the message to all fleet commanders," he said quietly. "Operation Reckoning begins in 72 hours. Target priority, military assets and defense systems. Rules of engagement, there are none. Show no mercy. Take no prisoners unless they have intelligence value. Make them remember this day for however long their species survives." "Hesitated, sir. This will be war, total war." "No," Jinwoo corrected her. "War implies 2 sides fighting. This will be an extermination. They wanted to erase humanity. Instead, we'll erase them. Every species that voted yes. Every civilization that watched our ambassador die and did nothing. We'll dismantle the council piece by piece until nothing remains but a warning to the rest of the galaxy." "And what warning is that, sir?" Jinwoo's face was stone. "Never corner a human, because we don't just bite back. We go for the throat and we don't stop until you're dead." The command center fell silent. Outside, the fleet prepared to jump. Earth's children were going to war, and they were bringing every nightmare the galaxy had ever feared. Had called humanity dangerous. He had no idea how right he was. But he would learn, they all would. Soon. Captain Lee checked his tactical display one more time. 6 months had passed since Ambassador's execution. 6 months that the Galactic Council believed humanity had spent licking its wounds. They were wrong. The silent vengeance hung in space just outside the 9 system, invisible to every sensor they had. Around it, 50 more Wraith-class ships waited like ghosts. Not a single knew they were there. "Status report," said calmly. "All ships ready, Captain," his weapons officer replied. "Singularity missiles armed, quantum shredders charged, conventional weapons hot. We can begin the attack on your order." Through the could see 9 in the distance. A mining colony that supplied rare metals for Council warship construction. Heavily defended. Thousands of military personnel. They felt safe here, deep in Council space, protected by their reputation as the galaxy's finest warriors. They were about to learn what real warriors looked like. "Remember what Admiral Jin told us," said to his crew. "They provided the guards who murdered our people. They pulled the triggers. They smiled while doing it. Today, we return the favor." He opened a channel to all ships in his strike force. "All vessels, this is Captain. You know what they did. You know why we're here. Show them no mercy. Make it quick, make it brutal, and make sure the galaxy sees. Begin attack." 50 invisible warships dropped their stealth fields simultaneously and opened fire. The defense fleet never had a chance. Singularity missiles struck their biggest ships first. Miniature black holes bloomed in space, tearing apart metal and flesh alike. Warships that had stood for centuries vanished in seconds, crushed into nothing. The quantum shredders followed. Beams of pure destructive energy swept across the formation. Ships didn't explode. They simply ceased to exist, disintegrated at the molecular level. One moment there, the next moment gone. "Colony attempting to launch escape pods," the tactical officer reported. "Destroy them," ordered without hesitation. "No survivors who can warn others, not yet." Missiles streaked out, intercepting the pods before they could jump to faster-than-light speed. Explosions lit up the darkness. On the mining colony's surface, soldiers rushed to defensive positions. They were the elite, trained for combat across 1,000 worlds, but their weapons were designed for fighting other Council species. They had no defense against what humanity brought. Human dropships descended through the atmosphere, armored and bristling with weapons. They didn't land gently. They crashed through the colony's shields and structural supports, bringing buildings down around the defenders. Ground troops emerged in powered armor that made them stronger and faster than any. Close-quarters combat was brutal and one-sided. Every human soldier fought with a controlled rage that terrified the aliens. This wasn't warfare. This was execution. 17 minutes after the attack began, 9 fell silent. Every military installation destroyed. Every warship scattered as debris. Every soldier dead. The mining colony burned, its facilities shattered beyond repair. Broadcast a message on all council frequencies. His face appeared on across hundreds of systems. Galactic Council, this is Captain Lee of the Earth vessel Silent Vengeance. You spilled first blood when you murdered Ambassador. Now we spill yours. This is only the beginning. We are coming for all of you. The transmission ended. The human fleet jumped away, vanishing as completely as they had appeared. Simultaneously, on the other side of council space, Commander sat in a darkened room surrounded by computer displays. Her fingers flew across holographic keyboards as lines of code scrolled past faster than most people could read. "I'm in," she said quietly. "Defense network is completely compromised." Around her, the best hackers humanity had ever produced worked at their own stations. They had spent months infiltrating systems. The reptilian species that led the council prided themselves on their advanced technology. They had no idea humans had already stolen all of it and learned to use it better than its creators. "Defense grids across 12 systems ready to shut down on your command," reported one of her team members. Opened a secure channel to Admiral Jin Woo. "Sir, we have complete control. They are blind." "Execute," Jin Woo's voice came back, cold and final. Pressed a single button. Across 12 systems, every defense platform, every automated weapon, every shield generator shut down simultaneously. Fortress worlds that had never been threatened suddenly found themselves naked and defenseless. The panicked, emergency teams rushed to restore their systems. Nothing worked. Humanity had locked them out of their own technology. That's when the human fleet arrived. Admiral Jin Woo's flagship, Final Judgment, led 300 warships into space. They found worlds completely unable to defend themselves. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration. Jin Woo chose 3 military worlds. He didn't target civilian populations or peaceful colonies. That would come later if needed. But these 3 worlds housed the military command structure. They trained the officers. They built the ships. They planned the wars. "All ships," Jin Woo broadcast, "engage orbital bombardment. Burn these worlds until nothing remains." The human fleet opened fire. Kinetic weapons accelerated to impossible speeds struck with the force of nuclear explosions. Energy weapons carved trenches through continents. Atmosphere ignited. Oceans boiled. They had time to send distress calls, begging the council for help. None came. The other species were too shocked by the attack on 9. They were scrambling to defend their own worlds, not knowing where humanity would strike next. For 6 hours, the bombardment continued. When it ended, the 3 fortress worlds were radioactive wastelands. Billions of years would pass before life could exist there again. But Jin Woo wasn't done. "Locate," he ordered. "I want the council leader alive." His intelligence officers had been tracking since the day died. The leader was on his personal command ship, fleeing toward the council's central station. "All ships pursuit course," Jin Woo ordered. "I want that ship intact." The human fleet jumped after. His ship was fast, one of the finest in the council fleet. But it couldn't outrun vessels designed by humans who had studied every weakness in alien technology. They caught him at the edge of neutral space. His escort ships tried to fight, but human weapons tore through them like paper. His command ship, however, was only disabled. Boarding pods attached to its hull like leeches. Human soldiers in powered armor forced their way inside. The crew fought desperately, but they were outmatched. Within minutes, the ship was secure. was brought to the final judgment in chains. He was dragged before Admiral Jin Woo on the bridge, forced to his knees on the deck. Jin Woo looked down at the being who had ordered his death. "You executed our ambassador in front of the galaxy. You made it a show, a demonstration of council power." His yellow eyes burned with hate. "You are animals, savages. You proved we were right to eliminate you." "No," Jin Woo said softly. "We proved you were fools to try." He turned to his communications officer. "Broadcast this on all council channels. I want every species to watch." Across hundreds of systems, lit up, aliens saw on his knees aboard a human warship. They saw the cold fury in Jin Woo's eyes. "This is Admiral Jin Woo of Earth," he spoke to the galaxy. "Council leader ordered the execution of ambassador. He called it necessary. He called it a demonstration. Today, we return his demonstration." He pulled out a sidearm, a simple human weapon far less elegant than alien technology. He pointed it at its head. "You taught us this diplomacy," Jin Woo said. "We're simply better students than you ever imagined." The shot echoed through the bridge. His body fell forward. Jin Woo looked into the camera. "This is Earth's answer to the Galactic Council. You wanted to erase us. Instead, we'll erase you. One species at a time, one world at a time, until you understand that humanity is not your victim. We're your extinction." The broadcast ended. Across council space, 47 civilizations watched in horror. 2 of their founding members had been crippled in a single day. Their military leader was dead, executed the same way he had executed the human ambassador. The galaxy finally understood. Humanity wasn't asking for permission anymore. They weren't seeking acceptance. They were declaring war. And they were winning. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was chaos. Representatives from 45 species shouted over each other. 2 species, the N, had empty seats. Their civilizations were crippled, their military strength shattered. Ambassador of the spoke loudest. His crystalline form shimmered with agitation. "We must respond immediately. The humans have destroyed 2 council members in a coordinated attack. If we don't act now, we're next." "Act how?" demanded Representative, a floating jellyfish-like being. "They destroyed our most powerful military forces in hours. Hours. They were supposed to be unbeatable warriors. They had the strongest defense network in the galaxy. Both fell like nothing." "Then we combine our forces," insisted. "Every species contributes their entire military. We gather the largest fleet ever assembled and crush Earth once and for all." The vote was unanimous. Every remaining council species pledged their warships. The assembly point would be the system, far from Earth but centrally located. From there, the combined fleet would jump to Earth's solar system and end the human threat permanently. Over the next month, warships gathered at thousands of vessels from dozens of species. Different designs, different weapons, different tactics, but all united in purpose. Destroy humanity before humanity destroyed them. Admiral Kelvin watched the assembly from his command ship. He was a species known for strategic brilliance. He had fought in 100 battles and won them all. "Impressive," he said to his staff. "Over 300,000 warships. The humans cannot possibly stand against this." "Should we send scouts to Earth?" his tactical officer asked. "No need. Our spies report their fleet is small, perhaps 2,000 ships at most. We outnumber them more than 100 to 1. This will be over quickly." But Admiral Kelvin didn't understand humanity's way of war. Humans didn't fight fair. They fought to win. The first sign of trouble came 3 weeks into the fleet assembly. Supply convoys stopped arriving. Admiral Kelvin sent investigation teams. They found the convoy ships drifting dead in space, their crews missing or dead. No signs of weapons fire. No signs of struggle. Just empty ships. "How is this possible?" Kelvin demanded. His science officer brought up analysis reports. "Sir, We found traces of unknown technology, microscopic devices. They appear to be some kind of autonomous infiltration units. Speak plainly. The humans have deployed nanomachines, sir. Swarms of tiny robots too small to see. They infiltrate our ships, poison food supplies, sabotage life support, even assassinate key personnel. We've found them on 17 different species vessels. Kelvin felt cold fear creep up his spine. Can we stop them? We don't even know how to detect them until it's too late. Admiral, leading Earth's Covert Operations Division, watched the chaos unfold from a safe distance. Her drone swarms were working perfectly. Each drone was smaller than an insect, nearly invisible, and completely autonomous. They had been released weeks ago and had infiltrated thousands of Council ships. Status report, she asked her team. 40% of the Council fleet is compromised, came the reply. Food supplies poisoned, life support systems sabotaged, and we've successfully eliminated 347 high-ranking officers. The fleet is in disarray. Good, said coldly. Continue operations. I want them paranoid, frightened, and unable to trust their own ships. And they were. Council crews started fighting each other, accusing allies of sabotage. Medical facilities were overwhelmed with poisoning cases. Officers refused to eat or sleep, knowing invisible killers might be anywhere. The fleet hadn't even left and it was already falling apart. Admiral Kelvin tried to restore order, but every day brought new disasters. A battleship suddenly lost atmosphere, killing everyone aboard. A carrier's weapon systems activated on their own, firing into friendly ships. Food processors on dozens of vessels began producing toxic meals. This is psychological warfare, Kelvin realized. The humans are making us destroy ourselves. But understanding the tactic didn't stop it from working. Then the real attack began. Captain Park commanded the experimental warship Oblivion's Edge. It was the first vessel equipped with a fully operational quantum shredder, a weapon so powerful that even other humans questioned its use. Had no such doubts. The Council had executed. They had threatened Earth. Now they would see what humanity built when truly motivated. The Council fleet finally organized itself enough to attempt the jump to Earth. 300,000 ships preparing to move as one. They would overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers. That's when the Oblivion's Edge dropped out of stealth, right in the middle of their formation. Sir, Kelvin's tactical officer shouted. Unknown ship detected, it's... The quantum shredder activated. The weapon worked by manipulating fundamental forces at the quantum level. It didn't destroy matter through heat or force. It simply made matter stop existing. A sphere of absolute destruction expanded from the Oblivion's Edge. Every ship it touched vanished. No explosions, no debris, just empty space where moments before warships had been. The sphere grew to 5 kilometers in diameter before collapsing. When it was done, 3,000 Council warships had been erased from existence. Not destroyed, erased, as if they had never been. The Council fleet panicked. Orders broke down. Ships fled in all directions. The careful formation dissolved into chaos. Park calmly prepared the weapon for another shot. Sir, we're receiving distress calls from the Council fleet, her communications officer reported. They're begging us to stop. They want to surrender. Too late for that, replied. Fire again. The quantum shredder activated twice more before the Council fleet finally managed to jump away. 9,000 warships erased in total. The largest military force ever assembled had been scattered by a single human vessel. Admiral Jin Wu received the reports aboard the final judgment. The main Council fleet was broken. Now was the time for the final phase. Send the message to all human forces, he ordered. Total offensive. Every Council military installation, every shipyard, every fortress. I want them incapable of threatening us ever again. Earth's fleet, grown to over 5,000 ships, struck everywhere at once. They had studied the Council for 30 years. They knew every weak point, every undefended system, every critical installation. The attacks were surgical and devastating. Human ships appeared, destroyed their targets, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. The Council's military infrastructure began collapsing. Species that had felt secure behind centuries of peace suddenly found their worlds defenseless. Some tried to fight. Their fleets were obliterated. Some tried to hide. Human intelligence found them. Some tried to run. There was nowhere to go. The Council attempted diplomacy. They sent envoys to Earth offering everything: peace, alliance, technology, anything humanity wanted. President received them in a grand chamber. The aliens knelt before her, begging for mercy. "You had 30 years to offer us peace," said coldly. "You chose execution. Now you'll receive what you gave us." "Please," Ambassador of the pleaded. "We were wrong. We see that now. Humanity deserves respect, deserves a place in the galaxy. We'll give you anything." "You'll give us everything," corrected. "Your weapons, your fleets, your worlds. You'll disarm completely. You'll accept human oversight. You'll serve us as you forced others to serve you. This is not negotiation. This is your only chance to survive." The envoys looked at each other in horror. Complete subjugation, the end of their independence, but the alternative was extinction. One by one they agreed. News spread across the galaxy. They had surrendered. Then the species after species laid down their arms and accepted human terms. The Galactic Council was dissolving. Those who refused faced the full might of Earth's military. They tried to fight and lasted 6 hours. They attempted a surprise attack on an Earth colony and watched their burn in retaliation. They tried to flee to deep space and were hunted down to the last ship. Within 6 months of Captain's first strike, the Galactic Council no longer existed. In its place, 43 species bowed before humanity, begging for the privilege of survival. Admiral Jin Wu stood on the bridge of the final judgment, looking at a map of conquered space. Every world that had voted to execute now flew Earth's flag. "It's done," he said quietly. "The Council is finished." "What happens now?" his executive officer asked. Jin Wu thought of, lying dead on the council chamber floor. He thought of and murdered for the crime of being human. He thought of the galaxy that had rejected humanity and called them contamination. "Now," Jin Wu said, "we make sure they never forget. We make sure no one ever threatens humanity again. We build an empire that will last forever." The hunted had become hunters, and the hunt was over. 2 years had passed since the execution of Ambassador. The galaxy looked very different now. President, now called Supreme Director by human and alien alike, stood before a massive window overlooking Earth. Behind her, representatives from 43 alien species waited in neat rows. They no longer sat as equals. They stood as subjects. "The Terran hegemony is now fully established," announced without turning. "Every species that once comprised the Galactic Council is now under Earth's authority. Your weapons are ours. Your fleets are ours. Your futures are ours. This is the new reality." Ambassador of one of the first to surrender, spoke carefully. "Supreme Director, may I ask what you intend for our peoples?" Finally turned to face them. Her expression was neither kind nor cruel, simply cold and factual. "That depends entirely on your past actions. We have categorized every species based on their role in our ambassador's death." She gestured, and a holographic display appeared. "Species that surrendered early and showed remorse are Category 1. You will retain self-governance under human supervision. Your militaries remain disbanded, but your people can live in peace." Several representatives sagged with relief. "Species that resisted but eventually surrendered are Category 2. You will be occupied. Human governors will oversee your worlds. Your resources will be managed by us. You have lost the right to determine your own fate. More aliens looked down, accepting their punishment. And finally, species that participated directly in ambassadors' execution or fought against us until forced to surrender are Category 3. His voice grew harder. You will serve. Your resources belong to humanity completely. Your people will work to rebuild what your wars destroyed. Your children will be educated in human schools, learning human values. In 3 generations, your species will be so integrated with humanity that you won't remember being separate. That's cultural extinction, one alien whispered. Yes, agreed without emotion. You tried to physically extinct us. We're being generous by only taking your culture. Be grateful you're alive to complain about it. The chamber fell silent. No one dared protest further. On the military side, Admiral Jin Woo oversaw the consolidation of power. Human warships patrolled every major system. Former Council military installations were now Earth bases. Alien shipyards built vessels for human crews. He stood in what used to be the Council's central command station, now renamed Unity Station. The irony wasn't lost on him. The Council had preached unity while enforcing dominance. Humanity simply acknowledged what they were doing. Admiral, we have reports from the outer colonies. Commander approached with a 3 more species have requested to join the hegemony voluntarily. Jin Woo raised an eyebrow. Voluntarily, they weren't part of the Council. No, sir. They're independent civilizations that saw what happened. They want our protection. Or they're terrified of what we'll do if they refuse. Nodded. That too, probably. Either way, they're offering complete allegiance in exchange for defense and trade rights. Jin Woo considered this. The hegemony was expanding faster than he'd expected. Species that had once viewed humanity as primitives now begged to join them. Fear was a powerful motivator, but so was pragmatism. Earth had become the dominant power in 3 galactic arms. Everyone wanted to be on the winning side. Accept their applications, he decided, but make it clear they're Category 1 only if they prove trustworthy. Any sign of betrayal, and they drop to Category 3 immediately. Understood, sir. Admiral Jin Woo walked through the station corridors, seeing aliens hurry past and bow their heads respectfully. Once, they would have ignored a human. Now they showed deference bordering on fear. He wasn't sure how he felt about that. He arrived at the Memorial Hall, a section of the station dedicated to those who died at Council hands. At the center stood statues of Ambassador, Lieutenant Park, and Dr. Min. Thousands of humans and even some aliens came daily to pay respects. Jin Woo stopped before a statue. The ambassador's stone face looked peaceful, wise, hopeful. Everything the real man had been before the Council murdered him. We did it, Jin Woo said quietly. We avenged you. The Council is gone. They'll never threaten us again. He paused, looking at the inscription beneath the statue. He came in peace and was killed for it. In his name, we ensured no human would ever suffer the same fate. But I wonder, Jin Woo continued, if this is what you would have wanted. We've become conquerors, rulers, the very thing we accused the Council of being. Of course, the statue didn't answer. Was gone, along with any gentler path humanity might have taken. Captain Lee, promoted to admiral after his successful strike on 9, commanded the exploration fleets pushing beyond known space. His mission was to find new civilizations, new resources, and potential threats before they found Earth. Admiral, we've detected signals from an unknown system, his science officer reported. It appears to be a civilization we haven't encountered before. Military strength. Difficult to assess. Their technology seems different from what we've seen, more advanced in some ways, more primitive in others. Considered his options. Once, humanity would have approached with open hands and hopeful words. That's what had done. That's what got him killed. Prepare first contact protocols, ordered. But keep weapons ready. We approach as friends, but we're nobody's victims ever again. Back on Earth, life had changed dramatically. The planet was no longer just a home. It was the capital of an empire spanning hundreds of systems. Human culture spread across the galaxy, carried by soldiers, administrators, and traders. Dr. Han continued her weapons research, though now she also oversaw integration of alien technologies. She met with President regularly. "Supreme Director, I have concerns," Han said during one such meeting. "We're expanding rapidly, maybe too rapidly. We're spread across so much space and our forces are divided." "You think we're vulnerable?" asked. "I think we're powerful but not invincible. There are regions of space we haven't explored yet, civilizations we haven't encountered. What if we meet something we can't defeat?" Looked at the star map on her wall. The Terran hegemony's territory glowed blue, vast but still tiny compared to the galaxy's size. "Then we'll do what we've always done. We'll adapt. We'll learn. We'll overcome. That's what makes us human. And if that's not enough, then we'll take them down with us," said simply. "But I don't believe it will come to that. We've proven ourselves against the galaxy's strongest alliance. We're ready for anything." Han hoped she was right. On Unity Station, a ceremony was held to mark the second anniversary of death. Representatives from all hegemony species attended. It was mandatory. Admiral Jin Woo gave the main speech. 2 years ago, Ambassador came to this very station seeking peace. He was murdered for the crime of being human. His death changed everything. It showed us that the galaxy doesn't reward kindness with kindness. It rewards strength with survival. He looked at the assembled aliens. "You learned this lesson too late. You thought you were strong. You thought you were safe behind your council and your numbers. You learned that humanity is different. We don't just fight back when threatened. We eliminate the threat completely." Some aliens looked ashamed. Others looked resentful but hid it. All looked defeated. But, Jin Woo continued, surprising everyone, "we also remember what wanted. He wanted humanity to be part of something greater, to work with others toward a better future. That dream isn't dead. It's just taken a different form." He gestured to the crowd. "The Terran hegemony is that better future. Humanity leads because we must, because we can, but we don't seek to destroy you. We seek to reshape you, to teach you what we learned through centuries of warfare on Earth, that peace comes through strength and survival comes through unity. In 3 generations, Jin Woo said, your children will be raised alongside human children. They'll learn our languages, our values, our ways, not to erase you but to elevate you, to make you worthy of the partnership originally sought." It was a pretty speech. Whether he believed it or not, even Jin Woo wasn't entirely sure. The ceremony ended. Aliens returned to their ships and worlds, carrying Jin Woo's words with them. Some found hope in his vision. Others saw only the velvet glove over the iron fist. Late that night, Jin Woo stood alone in the memorial hall. The station lights dimmed for night cycle, and he was left with only the statues and his thoughts. "We did what we had to do," he said to statue again. "You understand that, don't you? They left us no choice." Still no answer, of course. But in the silence, Jin Woo heard something. Maybe his conscience, maybe his doubt, maybe just his memory of a kinder time when humanity still believed in peaceful solutions. "I hope this is what you would have wanted," he said finally. "I hope we honored your memory properly." He touched the base of the statue and left the hall. Across the galaxy, the Terran hegemony continued to grow. Human fleets explored deeper into unknown space. Human culture spread to 1,000 worlds. Human power became absolute and unquestioned. And everywhere aliens spoke a new phrase, one born from humanity's terrifying rise. Never corner a human. They don't just survive extinction, they inflict it. Ambassador had come to the galaxy seeking friendship and found death. In response, humanity had remade the galaxy in its image. Whether that was justice or simply revenge dressed in diplomatic language, only time would tell. But one thing was certain: the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. The species that had been called a contamination had become the power that defined civilization itself. And from Earth, 8 billion humans looked to the stars not as dreamers anymore, but as conquerors who had learned the hardest lesson. In a hostile universe, survival means domination and peace means strength. The age of the Galactic Council was over. The age of humanity had begun, and the stars themselves trembled at what that might mean for the future.